we're recording now. So let's recap. An event happened when you were around 5 or 6. This is around weight. And what did we discover? You tell me, you articulate to me, what did you discover from our conversation just before around the way that you've been treating your body all these years? That was the first discovery. What was that?
First discovery is that I rejected my own body because of an incident that happened like when I was very little. And it was a situation where I couldn't understand what was going on. So, yeah, I just rejected my whole body and became a little tomboy and put on weight to protect myself and not to be that for that person or for those persons. Yeah, it is just such a revelation now to see that you reject your own body just to become invisible.
Yeah, that was the meaning that you took away from it. And it's going to be different for everyone. And remember, it's not a conscious decision. When we're that little, our brain is still developing, and our sense of our place in the world and what the world around us is really about is very much guided on our feeling states, on our reactions and responses to the world around us and how that makes us feel in certain situations. So it's not a conscious decision, it's an unconscious decision based on the feeling that that experience created for you in that moment as you were that little girl.
Yeah.
So it's not about fixing who you are now by trying to lose weight in order to like yourself better, because we already established that's a short-term thing that you're consciously trying to change when your unconscious mind may have other ideas, i.e., whenever I lose weight, I always put it back on, so what's the point? Or, as we've discovered, there's actually a deeper issue that's been going on in your unconscious mind about hiding your femininity in order to fit in to the guy group and not have to put yourself into that similar situation and have that kind of attention that made you feel uncomfortable in the first place.
Yeah, what a revelation after all these years. It's learning to embrace your body. It can change everything.
See, remember, as
just
children, we internalize stuff. So you internalized that there was a need for you to push that side away and to hide it and cover it up. And that's why you were rejecting your body in favor of trying to change it. So, but that was a conscious thing. You wanted to consciously change your body so that you could have the body that you want. But your unconscious mind, which of course has much more processing power and ability and memory and habitual patterns wired into it, your unconscious mind is like, but that's not what I'm trying to do for you. I'm trying to actually protect you. I'm trying to let you fit in another way. But of course, as an adult, you don't want what your mind thought that you wanted when you were 6. As an adult woman, you're like, I want to own my, I want to look good. I want to have it, attractive. I want to feel attractive. I want to have my husband look at me and go, oh, yeah.
Yes.
Your unconscious mind is like, but that's not what I'm trying to do. That's not what you wanted me to do. Remember, the unconscious mind is always trying to do what it thinks you want it to do. And what we don't remember or recall as adults is what we were feeling intensely as little kids, that our mind was listening to that and forming the idea of, okay, you don't want to feel like that again because you think if you look like that or if you do that, that's going to happen and that's going to make you feel uncomfortable. So how can I fix this for you? How can I protect you? Because even if you have the thought, I don't want men looking at me like that. I don't want men doing that around me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So the unconscious is like, okay, I'll take care of that. I'll create this barrier between you and them so they don't behave like that around you.
Yeah, and even getting to fights if they do it in front of me. It's instead of just stepping back, it's your own business.
Yeah, but see,
Even,
you didn't know that you had a choice to step back and not watch. You didn't
yeah.
know that. You know, you were just a little
No,
kid. You were just behaving the way that little kids do. You were trusting your cousin and you were kind of curious because we're kids, we're curious. And then you kind of realize what they were doing and you go, oh, I
no,
don't
no, not nice.
feel like that. But, you know, as a little kid, you're kind of like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So you kind of, as you said to me, you just kind of stood back and took it in, felt the experience of it, but didn't realize that, well, there's several things that we don't realize in that situation. One, those boys shouldn't have been doing that in front of you.
Mm.
Two, not all people behave like that. Three,
Yeah.
you were allowed to walk away. At 6, who's going to tell you those things?
Yeah, they're not.
And who's going to tell you at that age, unless an adult comes in who's switched on and, you know, actually knows to sit
Yeah.
down and explain it to you? Who's
Yeah.
going to tell you that the way those boys are behaving is how some people behave, but that doesn't have anything to do with you and you didn't do anything wrong?
Yeah, and I think that is the major, yeah, that's the big thing. Unfortunately, sometimes with the book in the hand and I have to do things that I didn't understand.
Mm.
And that connection, even today, like I said, if I get into those situations, I get this, it's my heart feels like it will come out my throat. It goes like this. And then sometimes I will react. I react in, not in always in a good way. But then sometimes I feel I do have the right to say, listen, whatever you do it in your private place. Don't expose me.
Yep. And as an adult, you have the ability and the right to say that and to enforce that. You, as
Yeah.
an adult, you know how to set your boundaries as an adult. Did you know how to set your boundaries as a kid at 6? No, because you're still
No.
learning. And in fact,
Sure.
the older kids should have respected those boundaries.
Yeah.
But obviously they didn't know how to either. So how are
No.
they supposed to teach you?
True. It's like, that is one thing that crossed my mind plenty of times. They were just teenagers doing what boys do. But the taking it further was a bit unnecessary.
Yeah.
Or not a bit, it was unnecessary. It was like, and what are you thinking? But shit happens. And to me today is such a revelation of what has been going on. Wow. I feel light. It's really like something just, it's
Yeah.
wow. Yeah,
So
thank you.
you're welcome. So let's
Sure.
just recap here because we want to make sure that you've disassociated enough. Now, if you hadn't have just said to me, oh, I feel light, and this is a revelation. If you had have said, wow, that makes complete sense, but still felt like you were emotional about it or attached to it, I would ask you to go back. Imagine that you as an adult go back into that situation. And as the adult in that situation, take charge and do what an adult should have done in that situation to protect you and to take care of you and to tell those boys off.
Okay.
And if you want to, you can sit down in meditation and visualize yourself doing it. You don't even have to be in meditation. You can just close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, and you can imagine yourself going back to that situation, seeing your little 6-year-old self, seeing from afar what was going on, and then walking yourself into it and telling everybody what they should have been doing and stopping it.
Sure.
You
Okay.
can do that at
I will
any
do.
time that you want to. If you had a client, you could actually do that with them. Just visualize them. So or visualize them, or ask them to
Okay.
visualize themselves doing that. And you're just facilitating, but they're doing it internally in their own mind. So it's rewriting unconsciously what happened and fixing it. So the mind then has a different ending and it has a different conclusion. And it's okay, I feel better about that now, because what should have happened but didn't has now been done. And that makes me feel better.
Okay.
Okay. But now that you said you feel lighter and it's good, great. So we know that the meaning now has changed. The meaning in your mind that you've been holding on to all this time about that situation, because earlier you said to me that thing was there and it kept coming up, and it was just a thing that was there and you kept going back to it. Now, as soon as somebody says that to you, that is a little red flag that that's an unresolved event.
Okay.
And that unresolved event needs to be released. So we need to acknowledge the feeling that that event created. And you can do that. You can acknowledge the feeling that that event it created without having to go back to that event, unless it's necessary. Even if you go back to the event, you don't need to relive any details from that event. You don't even need to verbalize or talk about any of those details. You're only going back long enough to review it. Now, remember, when you go back and you recall a memory, it's not going to be perfect, because the mind can't put it all back together perfectly. It's only going to put it back together in a way that aligns with the memory and the meaning that's in your mind. That's how it's going to put that event back together, even if that's not quite exactly how it was. But we can use that to our advantage to go back to the event and to look at it differently. But we can follow the feeling back to that event, and we can take away, what did that feeling leave me with? How did it change what I thought about myself? How did it shift what I believed about myself or the people around me, or my body, or my worth? What did that feeling shift? What meaning did that feeling leave you with? You don't need to revisit the details. You're only reviewing it. So you never ever have to relive an old memory, but you can choose to go back and review it and understand it in a new and different way that your little mind at 6 years old could never possibly understand it or see it. This is the benefit of taking your own life experience and wisdom and maturity now, with the courage to actually face and uncover what still has an emotional hold over you. Take yourself back to that event and review it. Shift the meaning by understanding it. We said earlier, it's not about fixing your weight or fixing yourself, because you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't have to fix it. It's more about understanding what happened that led to this experience with your body and your weight. By understanding, what are you actually in your unconscious creating in your body, that your body is manifesting this weight issue. So by going back to the event, following the feeling, going back to the event, reviewing it, taking away a new meaning, a new understanding. What was that really about? What did it leave me with? How did it affect me? How did it change the way that I thought about myself? And the reaction, and I was only listening to what you were saying, feeding it back to you, and just seeing, have I got it right here? Have I got it right that that little girl, that little 6-year-old Lizelle, felt like this when she saw them doing that and had that reaction? I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want boys doing that around me. I don't want them looking at me. I don't want that to happen again. What do I need to do? Unconscious mind to the rescue. I'll save you. I'll protect you. I'll make you in a way, I'll construct you in a way that you won't look like that, so that isn't going to attract into your life. So you don't have to deal with that again. But then
Sure.
what that made you do was reject your body. And you didn't even know that you were rejecting your body until I asked you to think about two important women or girls in your life and imagine seeing them in your mind's eye and saying to them the vitriol, the hatred, the horrible things that you say to your own body, and then really seeing their face, so that you had a face to put to the feelings that your own body is experiencing when you talk to yourself that way. And how did it make you feel? You said, it makes me feel rejected. And we use that feeling of rejection to say, well, where did that come from? Who made you ever feel rejected? And you said, well, this event that's constantly been coming up since I was about 5, 6, or 7, this is what it is. And that's what we did. We followed the regret back to what that actually means to you to feel rejected. But it wasn't so much about being rejected by others. It was you wanting to protect yourself from attracting that thing. So you were rejecting that, but in the meantime, what got caught up in it is you rejecting yourself. You're rejecting your own femininity and your own body and your own attractiveness. You were rejecting those things that represented what that event meant.
Yeah.
And then I said to you, what's the opposite? We're just recapping for anyone who's watching this as a demonstration. I asked you, what's the opposite of rejection? If your body that loves you, despite how you've treated it and spoken to it and deprived it and overfed it and all those things over the years and whatever you've done to it, your body loves you and is always trying to protect you and keep you safe. And that's a part and extension of your unconscious mind. Remember, your mind lives in every cell of your body. What's the opposite of rejection?
Embracing it.
Yes. So loving, accepting, and embracing your own body, everything that it is and does for you. Embracing what it could potentially look and feel like to be in a body that you're proud of, that you love to be in, because your body is your home. And if you don't feel at home in your body because you don't love it and accept it, how are you supposed to feel comfortable or like you belong in the rest of the world, because you've been rejecting it, really rejecting yourself?
Wow. That's amazing. It's just, to me, this is amazing. It's just another perception, and it's like, why didn't I think about of this?
It's really hard though when you get to a certain age and you've been existing in this pattern of thinking and feeling, and behaving, that it's really hard to step outside of that and kind of see things from a different perspective, which is really what I encourage you to do. I mean, we did the bulk of the work before we hit record, and we were just kind of recapping and going over it a lot more quicker than we did, in actually the process. But it's a process of uncovering what is it that's actually going on here, understanding yourself better. And you can't do that on your own often, because you need somebody else to reflect back to you and also pose things to you, questioning, is that right? Or what about when you've done that? How did that make you feel? What reaction did it have? So that you can actually just dissociate enough and remove yourself from the intensity of it and the pressure of it and the expectation of it and the shoulds long enough so that you can actually just see it without any of that other judgment getting in the way.
Yeah, I see. But I feel so good now.
So when you
it's like, wow, I don't know. I'm almost 49, and for the first time, I'm understanding this thing. I'm understanding it now. It's just.
So what does it mean to you now that that you've got this new perspective and this new meaning about that event. How is that? How will you allow that to shift and change your relationship to your body now?
I was thinking 2 minutes ago, maybe, yeah, I've got, to me now, all of a sudden, I've got the rest of my life. I don't have to do a 3-week dash diet. I can take the time and enjoy and change it slowly. It's, yeah, to me now, it's all of a sudden not a 3-month diet, it's, let me enjoy the journey while I'm like, because I hate recipes. I hate a recipe. If somebody says a recipe and, you know, all these health foods and everything, and now all of a sudden I'm like, and you can actually try some things, and because, you know, like our Afrikaans, South Africans, we eat horrifically. Everything is sugar and butter and fat and it's, yeah, to me now all of a sudden it's just love your body that you're in, and yeah, that acceptance, it's just then it's like I have the time to change it. It's not a impatient thing. I have the time, and yeah, all of a sudden I'm just seeing, I don't know. It's just wow, it's just I'm seeing it so differently, just knowing that I rejected my body and I didn't know that I was doing that. And now it's just it's just different. It is so, it's so different. And I wish we recorded from the beginning, because this could have helped so many people.
I think it'll still help people hearing our recap and getting the gist of it,
Yeah.
even though we've gone through it quicker in the recap than the process of actually taking the time to question, sit and think, follow that feeling back, question it, understand what was that about,
Sure.
potentially, is this what it was? Ah, yes, it was. Okay, so let's follow that. What else did you learn? How's that impacted you now in your body and what you think of it? So it's definitely going to be demonstrative and helpful for other people. What I'd like to do now, though, is to solidify what we've just helped you shift within yourself. And I'd like to ask you just briefly, how do you feel about your body right now?
I actually feel comfortable in it, if that is like, it's just, yeah, I'm seeing it so differently from where you said I've been hard on it, and I have been. I've been very hard on everything going on, and all of a sudden I'm okay, and we're okay, and yeah, it's just it's I don't even have words for how things are just now, how I feel and see it differently now all of a sudden. It's just so amazing to I don't have to hate it, and I can actually embrace it, and I can be a bit sexy. It's not. And in my vision book in the beginning of the year, I actually, at the end of the book, I have this little picture of a wedding couple that are a bit sexy, nothing vulgar. They're just a bit sexy. And I thought that's where I want to be at the end of the year. Instead of tomboy, be a bit more sexy. And to me now it feels okay.
Yeah, because that's moving from rejecting your attractiveness or potential attractiveness from when you were little to being a tomboy to fit in so that they don't see you in the same way that they saw those pictures.
Sure, yeah, it's, yeah,
Now you
I
know it's
can do
okay
it.
to be who you are. And it doesn't mean people are going to treat you like that or do those things. It means that you've got the opportunity now to embrace who you are, feel good about it, and set your boundaries for those other things or other people if you don't want them in your
Yeah.
space. Because you've got choice now. You didn't know that when you were a kid.
Yes.
Okay, so that you're also embracing that choice that you have, as much as you're able to now embrace your body for what it is and what it can do for you, and how you can allow yourself to feel in your body without fear.
Yeah, my body doesn't feel like a burden anymore.
It never
And
was.
it did.
Yeah.
It felt like it.
Yeah.
And now it's just, I was ridiculous.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
No.
You were just at a vulnerable and impressionable age where you didn't realize that it wasn't your body's fault and it wasn't your body letting you down.
Yeah.
It was the circumstance and other people, perhaps. But
Yeah.
your body's always been there for you, trying to keep you safe and protected. And that's more what it
Yeah.
is about.
Yeah. Thank you, Vicky.
You're
I
very, very
feel
welcome.
I'm going to start this day with a bang.
Before we finish, tell me 3 things that you now like about your body, or that you now can see and allow yourself to recognize and appreciate about your body.
Like in physical.
Whatever you want.
What do I like about it? I don't know. Just being in it at the moment, it feels great. But,
Okay,
but
focus on that. Focus on that feeling. What can you recognize that you now feel in this moment in your body that you weren't able to even recognize or feel or see this morning?
I have to be honest, like I almost feel smaller. It's like, to me in my head, I'm like this. And now it's it's not that. It's I just feel comfortable, and yeah, I think just I know that everybody has always complimented me on my nose and my eyes and my feet. So maybe that's 3 things just to concentrate as well on, and just know that it's not like this.
See, I
And
think
all of
when you
this,
say that, that's more the unconscious barrier of the weight and the burden of rejecting any good stuff to come into your life in case it might involve anything
yeah,
else.
that,
But
yeah,
the lightness that you're feeling is that dissolving. And you can even
yeah,
imagine that it's dissolving, it's releasing, it's evaporating. And you don't have to be
yeah,
held tight within that burden or that weight of that sensation anymore.
yeah,
And
that's
allow your
that's
true physical form to emerge over time as you start to learn how to embrace and love and accept yourself and nourish yourself in the way that you deserve to be nourished. Not just for 3 months on a diet, but for the rest of your life.
no,
How does
that's it.
that feel in your body to think of, wow, this whole new way to love and nurture and accept myself and nourish myself for the rest of my life?
Yeah, that is that's something to look forward to starting today. It's just not there, not tomorrow, not next week. It's just today. Start embracing and loving, and just give it what it needs and give it some love. It's just, yeah, because I've really been hard on myself, and it's just amazing. It's just seeing it in such a. I was hoping for this.
You got
I
it.
was really hoping. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you know what? This actually started because you asked me about a comment that your assessor Debbie had put in your workbook about accepting your body, learning to accept it as it is. And you asked me, how do
Yeah.
you do that? How do you accept your body in order to kind of get to this point where releasing excess weight is possible? And that's what started this whole conversation.
Yeah, that's true. You can remember everything, can't you?
When you focus on your client in session, everything can
Yeah.
be available to you in recall to relate it back to your client constantly.
Yes, I noticed that in the videos that I thought, yes, but you are. Then I tried to make mental notes to see if I can see what you are going to ask. And I missed half of it. But practice.
Yeah, that's what it is, you know. It's
Yeah.
practice. It's about practicing your craft and getting better and better at it every time.
Amen. That's what I want to do.
And you will.
Amen. But thanks a lot, Vicky. I just want to go tell the world. But thanks a lot, eh?
It's been my pleasure. I'm very pleased that you've had a big shift today, because that's exactly what needed to be acknowledged and shifted for you. Are you okay if I take this recording and put it in the training vault or post it in the private Facebook group? You're okay?
Go for it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm 100% with it.
Awesome. It'll help a lot.
Okay.
And it'll be great for you to watch it back as well.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to watch it and I'm going to journal now quickly before I go to work. I'm late.
Fantastic. Great. Excellent. Solidify what you're learning by writing it down or talking about it. Awesome.
Thanks.
Bye.